Right, this is the second part of this, the third part, it's the second part of this bit. And I think this bit here, these bits here must have to come off. But they're so small, they don't do anything. See, you've got a bit of plastic there. That bit there has come to the corner. And that's got that. As I was saying in the previous video, I don't want to put this on and then find out that I don't like the deck. I really do have a problem with them, I've got to admit. I'm leaning towards not bothering with it. This has got all these little tiny pieces in, which was stopping it going in, so they will come off of that. They've got plastic there. So that has taken that off. This plastic is what's stopping it now. Take anymore. So this goes here. Where were we? So this is going to go in here. So now that is now sitting against that. That's central. But that one's not fitting. And then you've got this here. It's got quite a gap around there. I've got no idea how this is supposed to work because that, even taking that off, it's such a like gap there. How do you get rid of that? And there, there's got a huge gap around it. Even pushing that in there like that. No, this is pathetic because they don't fit in, do they? If these are supposed to fit in tight, then they don't. You can see that now, because that's not fitting there. Because that bit is fitting there, it's not fitting there. And then you get that central, and then you've got a gap here. And you've got a gap here, and you've got a gap there. You've got this huge gap here coming right the way round. You've got a bit of a gap there. And presumably there's another bit going there. And then that is not going to fit there, look. So this is probably, see, that won't fit in. If I fit that one in there, now that one doesn't fit. Absolutely stupid. Even if that fits like that, look at this gap going around there. I mean, surely it wouldn't be made to have a gap like that. I might be wrong, but I wouldn't thought there would have been a gap around it like that. I just don't know why it would have a gap like that. And it's not very clear on whether you're supposed to take this bit out. Because if you do, then you can't really do anything with it. You can get it out on this bit here. See, it's already come away on this bit when I cut round it, so that just comes out. It's not actually achieving anything. It might be because of the plastic in it. There's no plastic there. And like I say, if I take the plastic out and put it in place, I'm committed, and if you have to take this bit off, see, that bit doesn't achieve anything, it's not actually doing anything. This bit here, it's just, you see, that just comes off the top of the plastic. So that's not actually achieving anything. assuming you have to cut this off. That would also mean you'd have to cut the other bit off. I mean, I know the plastic is stopping it, fair enough. But to cut that off like that, it's not achieving a single thing, is it? It's not doing a thing. Because once that is off, I can't get this plastic down. So assuming we can get this plastic off. I know how I should be doing it, I should be putting it in place, but like I say, I don't think it would work. Right, so that's plastic off there. That's most of the plastic off there. So that makes that, puts that tighter against the thing now. So that plastic is off there. And this plastic is off there. So that's got no plastic stopping it there. The centre bit will get away with. This bit has all the plastic around it. Of course, now that I'm doing this, I won't have anything to get the plastic off, will I? That'll be the next problem. The only time I fitted a wooden deck was on HMS Hood. And I got that fitted on. That was the MK1 deck. It's fitted, not too bad. And the more I looked at it, the more I thought, no, don't like that at all. And I took it off. Which was a real problem because it ended up where it was stuck on the deck. I had to try and tidy all that up. So we've got a bit of plastic there. Right, that's come off. So that's that bit off. That's that bit off. So now we've got a little bit of plastic there that will keep it going. So that plastic is off. Plastic is off. And that split there. Now I'm not sure whether you need to move this. So that's all the plastic off. So that fits in. Okay, that fits better now. So that fits like that. But I mean, it's supposed to have a gap like that there. I mean, is that seriously supposed to have a gap there? I would have said that would have gone against there, but then you'd have had the gap against there. Once the gun is on, maybe. I just don't know. I don't know whether that should have this big gap around there. And this gap on here, I cut nothing off of that. The gap on here is less than on there. It doesn't move out, it doesn't move in. It's in line with the edge of the deck, so it won't go any further there. That is just about central. So that has a gap there and there. See what fits on there, right? Right, bear with me. Right, now let's have a look. So what we have on here is will have so coming from the bow. Now that doesn't make any sense at all. Right, so that's a crane. So we're going to put that on yet because that will have to be built up. Either side here are the three guns. Gun 150mm gun 2, gun 1 goes there. Gun 2 goes there. Yeah, you have to make them up to see where they go. It's too much trouble. So they will fit there. So the crane, not absolutely perfect sure, but that's the crane. So there's the crane here. So part it has to be made up of about 6 pieces. So that has to be made up of all them pieces. Assuming that that's got that right, and assuming that this is the crane going down, and it's going down, there it is there, and it's going into there. This is not showing you a crane with a little lumpy bit at the bottom of it. It goes up, down, so that is K28, K7, K1, oh, see, so the big bit doesn't exist, K6 and 7. Well, it doesn't make any sense, does it? Let's see. So to make that up, you've got to make all the thing up out of about 7 or 8 pieces. And once it's made up, there's nothing on it. So assuming the crane goes on here, well, why has it got a big hole in it? Why does it have to have that? Because that's not what the crane's going to look like. Once the crane is made up, there's the crane. But to make it up, all these pieces up. Not going to look up here, man. Well, this ain't much good, is it? So much for the manual. And the chances are a lot of this will be replaced with the Pontos kit. So we'll have to make all this up to make up the crane to see if it fits on there. So let's assume it does. That means that this, well, there's a massive big gap under it. There'll be this massive big gap around it. There's that. I'm going to need to make this crane up on KKKKK. Right, bear with me. Let's make the crane up. That's my K. I've got a feeling anyway that some of this might be, if it's not made up with Pontos, it'll be made up with MK1 maybe. So let's have a look first. I'll build them up in plastic and then we can alter them anyway. So this is the Pontos gear. There's the wooden deck. It doesn't say anything about See, this is the problem, it doesn't really show you the wooden deck. So there's the wooden deck. So that's that bit, I understand that bit, I understand it. These propellers, by the way, are horrible. I've not used them, they're really vile. Chubby, hard. For God's sake, now you're going to break everything now. Right, now, so where are we up to? Right, now, so we've got the deck here. Don't even know what piece of the deck I'm showing out there. So there's nothing there. Okay, so here's the crate. Alright, okay, K29. Oh, for pity's sake. So this is the crane. Now this is what I was talking about before, by the way, with the breakwater. See all them bits going all the way around the breakwater. Well, as you can see, you don't have them in this kit. These are in the advanced kit, which is a real shame. So the crane is here, and all this bits, all these bits make up the crane. Absolutely unreal. Look at them all. Now these bits here go across, by the way. They use thread on them. You take all that away because it's rubbish. I won't make it up in the photo edge parts on. It's just not good. You can't put any tension on it. Look at all the bits on the. I don't know why I brought a Pontos kit. I've always wanted a Pontos kit. Now that I've got one, there's nothing wrong with them. Nothing wrong with them at all. They're absolutely brilliant. But to be fair, a lot of the MK1 stuff is a lot stronger than the Pontos stuff. So these don't have any. So there's nothing on the cranes here. You see, these have these decks, but they were horrible. So there's nothing with the cranes there. Right. So the cranes, so these don't give you any updates for the cranes. So what I'll do, I need to make the crane up so I can see on this bit. So I know that eventually it's going to have all these bits added to it. But we won't know. We've got to drill up a 0.5mm holes and 0.5mm. And for pity's sake, I'm going to punish myself, don't I? So it's got to be made up of all these bits. But you can make the main bulk. Oh right, I see. So there's a little bit on the bottom here that will go through that. I can see, so you can see the deck on here. There's the guns. The guns are going to go on top of those bits anyway, so that's not important. There are all the bits in this. It's pathetic, isn't it? You can't see the wooden deck on this. Absolutely typical, isn't it? I wanted to see the wooden deck at the sides. You can't see it because they've got all the guns on. I wanted to see these wooden decks here to see if there was an actual gap around them. Because there's certainly a gap there, as you could see from the video. So there's certainly going to be a gap there, so I'm not sure how it's going to work. You see, where you can see the wooden deck there, not one of them has the wooden deck, but you can actually see it, so you can see it there, with the guns in the way. And you can't tell whether there's a big gap around it or not. There certainly appears to be a big gap around it. And you can't see one on there. Right, we've got 30 seconds left. So I can't see a gap going around that, because it doesn't show you the wooden deck properly. So we'll do the bits. I'm just gabbing away and letting the video run out. Why is that in green? Right now.